Yo, Kingearner coming to y'all live and direct. I know I ain't been here in a minute, but I got an honorable excuse. The month of Ramadan is here. 30 is here. So you're not going to see me too much on here doing a lot of this. My whole goal is to make sure that people understand we cannot no longer accept Muslims that's claiming to be gang members. Now, I spoke on this before, but now I'm going to give y'all a little bit more insight. One of the number one insights I'm going to give you understanding of is the fact that when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got revelation from the angel Jibril alayhi salam, who was given it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it was to bring everybody to the oneness of Allah, like every other prophet that came prior to him. Except he was able to give it to all mankind. Now, there were family members that they had. There were individuals that were amongst them that were friends that just said, I'm done with them because they're leaving off of a shirk and belief in idols of our forefathers. But the ones that loved the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like Abu Bakr, he was one of the first people that took the Shahada. Everybody else was going against it. That battle, Badr, there were a lot of individuals. It was a few of the battles that they had that it was their family members. Fathers killing sons, sons killing fathers, uncles killing nephews, nephews killing uncles. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sure that he protected them and gave them the strength even at times when they were outnumbered. If that isn't a clear proof that a gang member cannot be a Muslim and a Muslim cannot be a gang member, I don't know what proof you guys need to hear. Now, some individuals, I understand that you may be a gang member, but your goal is really geared more towards being a Muslim. But because of the things of this world, you're attached to the gang. The gang brother that you have has no strength, has no, how can I say it? He has no presence over your Muslim brother. He does not get to be called a brother. He gets to be called an associate because that's what y'all are. Y'all business associates. Most gangs are ran off of businesses. I see a lot of dudes online right now during the month of Ramadan. They're in their bag and they're still with the not pronouncing the word C in a word. So if the word is clout, it's blout. You're showing this straight up and down that that's what you with. You can't do that. You can't straddle the fence when it comes to Islam. Now, some of y'all will say, oh man, ain't nobody perfect. No one is perfect. And a lot of individuals sin. But sin is something that you get down and you pray to Allah for forgiveness. Being with a group that you know, especially the ones that are in prison, that you know or go against your Muslim brothers, it's called betrayal. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, for every individual that betrays his Muslim brother, a flag will be raised for him on a day Yom Kippur. The thing is, you guys can't duck that. Y'all might can act like it now, running with the gangs, telling them personal business about the Muslims when you're in prison, or even out here, whatever the case may be. You lost already, because there's never going to be a people who can go against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and everybody that he had with him were always like victorious. And when it wasn't, it was something going on. Like some people who were part of the Ummah doing wrong things. And the people that's around the Ummah, that's in it strong, not advising those people. See, what ends up happening a lot of times is that you're scared to advise a person because you don't know how that person may come off at you for the advice you give. And never should that be in Islam. I've had children, younger individuals, teach me Islam. I've had younger individuals teach me how to read Arabic. I've had younger individuals give me nasiha on the things that I've done wrong. And at the time, I'm going to tell you, I always wasn't, receptive to it. So I'm telling everybody that you can't jump all over people neither about the gang and the Islam thing. Go to them and talk to them in a respectful way. Offer dua more than anything for them to come away from the gang. Don't ridicule your brother because it may be that he's a rich person at that time, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put him in a position where he becomes a muqsinun, the good doer. We cannot go on harboring ill feelings. If you know a guy and prior to Islam you and him had a disagreement and both of you guys are upon Islam, you should search him out now and ask him to forgive you before he get a chance because you'll get the better blessing. So many miss the fact that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not a vicious, hard individual that went against his own people. There was a man who actually came up. He had, if I'm not mistaken, his hair cut bald with a waist side, with a sheet around his waist. And he was upset that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had given one of the Ansaris something from the booty, I'm thinking, if I'm not mistaken. May Allah forgive me if I'm incorrect. And the guy came to him and said to him, the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and one of the companions snapped and was ready to take his head off his body. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, don't do so. Because then the people were going to be saying, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kills his own people. He said, but this guy here that you see, there's going to come a time that you're going to see people who are eloquent with their speech when it comes down to the Quran, but it won't go no further than their mouth. To understand that is to know that these people will not be beneficial no matter what they do. Some of them are hypocrites, but we have to also know that there's a certain kind of hypocrite that will go into paradise. Not the ones who don't have the Islam in their heart, but the ones such as myself, such as everyone else that are around here, believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but majority of the time, they're giving other things, when I say other things, their attention. And we're not speaking, again, so people understand, because I included myself, we're not speaking about the hypocrite who acts like they have Islam in their heart. We're speaking about the hypocrite who wants to do well, but continues to sin. If I watch TV too much longer, that's hypocritical. If I in my phone looking at big butts all day, it's hypocritical. If I'm in a gang and I'm a Muslim, it's hypocritical. So I'm not making any type of decisions that Allah makes on the people, trying to tell them what can't happen, like, oh, you're not a Muslim no more, you're this, that, and the third. No, we need to stop. We need to all stop trying to point the finger and understand that you got to point the finger at yourself sometime. And those hypocrites that will enter paradise is the ones that said La ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, but a lot of their intentions don't show the right thing. They don't dress like a Muslim, they cut their beard, they wear their pants in the hellfire, those type things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to say to the fire, not as we speak, but cut. And the fire will stop. And he said, he's going to say, here's my last intercession. He's going to go into the fire, and he's going to put the hypocrites, give them a place in paradise. But these hypocrites aren't the hypocrites that done things and then ask for forgiveness. I sin hypocritically because I'm a Muslim striving to be a believer. But in the same token, I beg Allah for forgiveness, which leaves me more of a right to go into paradise than an individual who does not ask Allah for forgiveness for his wrongful ways and his hypocritical ways. There are stages. A Muslim is striving to be a believer. A muqsinun and mu'minun, believers. There's no question to that, what they're on. And we got to start understanding that we cannot question what we're upon. And when we do the negative things, by having fornication, committing adultery, selling drugs, committing riash, doing things to show off in front of individuals, I'm the biggest Muslim, and we put ourselves in a bad position. So I'm advising myself first and others. If you're in a gang, get away from the gang. Beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. But don't, I repeat, just go around on that type of vibe. Because that vibe is not a good vibe, and the energy that you will create off of that will have you in that ground. And you know what'll happen, right? You will die in a state that you won't even remember those three questions. Who Allah? Who is Allah? Who is his messenger? And who is his prophet? No, I'm sorry. Who is Allah? Who is his messenger? And what is your religion? You want to answer those questions correctly with his proofs. And some of us don't have that. This is not Talim, but I want for you to understand that we must all begin to understand that Tawheed is something that we should all begin to study harshly every day. When I say harshly, like so strongly, that is all that we have upon in this world is Tawheed. I'm Kingearner from the Honor Your Life campaign. Ramadan is upon us. Make sure that we understand that Ramadan is a fire, is a distinguisher to the fire. We need it more than anything because we sin and do hypocritical things all our lives. May Allah forgive us all and accept us into paradise. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.